like this here with all the ice on it.
Tonight, communities across social media are working to bring awareness to another missing person who was last seen on August 24th. Surveillance footage shows him entering a store in Bloomington at around 9 in the morning. Well, after missing classes for several days and family members weren't able to reach him, they reported Day missing. Now, Carmen Boldenday, Jelani's mom, describes this aspiring doctor as loving, sociable, but most importantly, she says resilient. And to those that have anything to do with Jelani's disappearance, or if Jelani is watching, she's begging to let him come home.
If you know something, I've offered $25,000. We've got a GoFundMe that's raised over $10,000 right now. You can have everything. You can have everything. Just give me back my son. And Jelani, I love you. I love you so much. And I just want him to come home.
Wow, it's so tough to listen to. While Day's whereabouts are unknown, police believe they have located his car. And after inspecting that vehicle, officials say they found the clothing Day wore the last time he was seen in the surveillance video. They say if you have any information about Jelani Day's whereabouts, you're asked to contact the number right here.
Mother, our own Liam Donahue, shares her emotional plea to bring her son back home.
He's my baby, and I just want him to come home.
Carmen Boldenday hasn't spoken to her son Jelani Day since last Monday.
Jelani doesn't go like days without talking to me. Jelani would call me 2 and 3 and 4, 5 times just to say nothing.
The Illinois State University graduate student was last seen on August 24th. His mother says he was furthering his education, pursuing a degree in speech pathology.
He was excited about completing this because he wanted to go on and further his career.
Now she's asking anyone with any information to please come forward to help her find her son.
If you have any information, I don't care how small or how insignificant you may think that it is, everything is important.
ISU Director of Media Relations Eric Jomey says Day's fellow classmates and faculty are working to spread the word as much as possible.
The university is also very concerned about this, and we really hope for the best possible outcome to this. There's been a lot of outpouring of support and concern, and again, we are hoping for the best possible outcome.
And Boldenday is keeping faith that Jelani will return home unharmed. Reporting in Normal, Liam Donahue, WYZZ News.
So first I want to introduce myself. I'm Officer John Furman. I'm the Public Information Officer with the Bloomington Police Department. To catch people up on kind of this case, the Bloomington Police has been the lead, in the investigation behind Jelani Day's disappearance. The second thing I want to say and get out there, our thoughts and prayers are with Jelani's family, their friends, everyone that's involved in this. It's kind of touched the hearts of everybody in America. And I want to also tell people, especially on social media, things like that, make sure if your comments or anything like that are supportive and they're empathetic of what the family's going through. Personally, I don't know how I would be if I were in their shoes. So just remember to support them, be empathetic with them. They're going through a grieving process right now. So again, everybody try to, especially online, make sure that you're empathetic. So the next part, I'm just going to talk basically through this media release. Today, the LaSalle County Coroner's Office identified the male body that was found on September 4th as Jelani Day of Bloomington, Illinois. This was done through forensic dental identification and DNA testing and comparison. Currently, from LaSalle County Coroner's Office, the cause of death is unknown, pending further investigation and toxicology testing. For those who may not know all the information, Jelani Day was reported missing on August 25th, 2021 here in Bloomington. The family reported they had last spoken with him on the evening hours of Monday, August 23rd, 2021. Throughout part of the investigation, we learned that he was last seen on campus on August 24th. And then we learned some more information throughout the investigation that he was seen at Beyond Hello, a retail shop here in Bloomington. We released a lot of that information in hopes to solicit tips, on location. On August 26th, Jelani's vehicle was located in Peru, Illinois. Based on the findings of that vehicle, Peru Police Department, along with other agencies, including the state police, did a coordinated search in the area. We collected a lot of evidence from the vehicle, and we were using a lot of that, evidence to go through digital data. So, the investigation continued while we were combing through a lot of that data. We relied heavily on different agencies throughout the investigation. The Peru Police Department did a great job in helping with us, soliciting leads. They asked for a lot of camera footage. Throughout that part of the investigation, we got some more information that I can't specifically release, which led to a large-scale search coordinated by several different agencies and professional search agencies, which that was on September 4th when we located the body. So they started that search in the early morning of September 4th, and then located the body just a few hours later. It's just a difficult case really to talk about. We're still doing our investigation. We're not finished with it. I just talked to the detective. There's still things that we still need to do. Just because Jelani was identified and the body was located, that doesn't mean we're done. If anything, that helps us, help the LaSalle County Sheriff's Office. They've got a death investigation. There's not a whole lot I can say on that. But that's where we're going to be, helping each other. That our detective's still working on the case, and LaSalle County Sheriff's Office is still working on the case, and there's still some pending results. The toxicology through the LaSalle County Coroner's Office. But really, it's going to be a team effort still. The investigation is still ongoing, and it hasn't stopped. And again, I just want to reiterate that everyone should be empathetic towards the Day family. Again, if I were in their shoes, I don't know how I would be in that grievance process, so just try to be respectful throughout it and support them. That's the kind of the overall aspect. I'll open up to questions if you just want to raise your hand. We'll get through as many as we can, or all of them. That works.
Is his death now being investigated as a homicide, or is it still considered a death investigation?
That's, I guess, a better question for LaSalle County. Right now, we don't want to put the cart before the horse kind of thing. It's still an investigation. Throughout the investigation, it could turn into that. It could already be that. Just right now, I guess the best answer is that it's still an investigation. It's a death investigation. No matter what it is, those are always handled, at the highest level. So it could turn into that, it could not. Again, the LaSalle County Sheriff's Office will have a better answer for you, especially down the road. Those will be answers that, or questions that can be answered a little bit, maybe a week, maybe a month, who knows. But that's something that can be answered better down the road. Yeah.
What can you tell us about the process that it took and why there was nearly 3 weeks? Clearly there's some issues going on with identification. What can you tell us about that process and why it took that amount of time from finding the body to finally identifying?
And that's a good question too, because I think everybody that was following the case was patient. We were patient. I think maybe a week or two ago, I think people lost patience. It's one of those things that sometimes it's out of your control, especially as a police department. The coroner's office sent off the testing. I can't really get into a lot of why the identification wasn't made or things like that, and I really don't, out of respect for the family, don't want to get into any details. But DNA testing was sent off. I know there were some issues with that, and I can just tell you basically today that that's the dental confirmation was an important aspect that was helpful in identifying. Yeah.
Strong question. Was the FBI called in to assist, and also several Black Lives Matter activists have gone missing or been found dead. We know that Jelani was active in a BLM protest last summer. Do you think that that could have been a factor?
I'll answer both of them. Sorry for, it takes me a minute to get both questions. The FBI, we've had contacts with them for, I actually checked, I think September 3rd, somewhere around there. We've been in contact with a lot of different agencies. Luckily, our agency, even though we're a medium size, we have a lot of specialized units, which is like we've got a cybercrime unit that are specifically trained to comb through, electronic data. Every investigation in 2021 is ultra reliant on video cameras and electronic data. And, the old way used to be eyewitnesses, but having those special resources in-house has been very beneficial. To the second question about, him being active in BLM, that's the first I'm hearing about it, and that wouldn't have changed anything how our department would have handled it. Detective Jones has been a case manager. Basically, that means he's the know-all. He's got to know every single information. There has been points during the investigation when, he was overwhelmed, and what we did is the sergeants, lieutenants, and our criminal investigation division helped him out, assigned other detectives. We had our crime scene unit helping. We had about half of our detectives helping throughout portions of the case where it's something that's time sensitive, or there just was too much coming in. At this point, we've combed through almost anything that's of value, and I know Detective Jones is still going through leads and tips and still getting some in, but it's kind of slowed down a little bit.
So you don't think that may have played a factor on his disappearance, his involvement in the protest?
Oh, sorry, I answered it totally wrong then. I have, and I guess that goes for all the questions. There's really, since it's still an active investigation, any kind of details like that we wouldn't answer. So sorry I didn't answer your question right for the first time. But really we can't, since it's an active investigation on our side in LaSalle County, that's not something that we would release anyways. Yeah.
All the state partners involved, what does the FBI bring to you that you didn't have before?
I can't really answer specifically, but I can tell you experience. They're specialized in a lot of different things. We're specialized in a lot of different things. They may reach out to us for some things and vice versa. It really, if it's just another, head in the room that can bounce ideas off of. There's been several meetings where, Detective Jones and we've had a big group together and just bouncing ideas, trying to get a different perspective. So no matter what, sometimes when you have too many people involved, it makes things more difficult, but sometimes it's helpful to just get a different opinion on, hey, are we down the right way? Is there anything you can do to help? Are you willing to help? Those are some questions that we usually get out pretty early, is just, hey, are you willing? What can you do? And how can you help us?
There's a case in Buckeye, Arizona with striking similarities between this case that's active right now. Another man missing, car found in a ravine in a remote-ish area. Have you guys been in contact with them at all and compared notes to these two cases?
I think that's a great follow-up question. Kind of what I just said is, especially that if there is, let's say hypothetically, if there is a connection, us already establishing a connection with the FBI would be important. That's of course, if you're saying it, it's an obvious thing that our detectives will look into. But that's where it would be nice, and that we have established a connection with the FBI, because there's no way possible, we can have 5 or 6 detectives or a crime scene unit go out to a different area if they're connected. That's where we'd have to rely on, major federal agencies, just because the distance is a problem. For us, we were fortunate that we could work face to face. I mean, we could go up to Peru, and we did interview different people, and that was a benefit for us, where we had sort of a central Illinois investigation rather than multiple states. Those get very difficult.
Have you spoken with the Day family today? Do you know how they're doing?
I know that the chief, or our chief or interim chief, and the detectives, they had a meeting this morning. Of course, we don't want to do any media information or anything like that without them knowing. But yes, they spoke this morning. They were the first ones to know about the identification. It would be unethical really of us to release all this information before they were on board with any of it.
Can you really quickly, because I think I missed that part, send a message to the Dade family about, just condolences and prayers for them?
Yeah, I mean, if anybody gets or takes anything away from this, is that put yourself in their shoes. Just imagine how you would feel, no matter if your kid's 6, 15, 25, 45. No parent really should have to go through that. And we're really asking people, especially on social media, family, friends see that, be empathetic and be supportive to the family. That's, and law enforcement, that's part of our job too. We do the investigation, but we also need to be supportive. We won't argue with their emotions. If they feel like we're not doing enough, that's how they feel about it. We can provide some facts on what we're doing, but I'm not going to tell, their family, how they should feel, because if I were in their shoes, I'd be exactly the same way. So really make sure you support and empathize with their family through this grieving process.
Should students at the university be on high alert? Have you guys issued any alerts to them? Do you think that they should be wary of their surroundings at all?
So specifically, we have no information, especially connected to this case, that any ISU student should be concerned. I know that the students are already on high alert. Any local news media might know, I think 1 or 2 weeks ago, there was a report. I think Normal PD and ISU PD put out some information about a possible, issue. I think that was resolved, but everybody's on high alert, and really, I'm not going to say that there's never anything to worry about. That'd be improper. I was an ISU student. I'll put a plug in for ISU's got a program that if you're walking home from class late or something like that, they've got a text and call program that they'll give you a ride. I think it's a golf cart or something like that. But they've got programs in place to make you feel safe around campus, and that's important just overall. Yeah.
Now, this case has obviously gathered a lot of attention following Gabby Petito's case. Like, everyone in the country knows about it. It's gone viral, like on TikTok and stuff. So how do you feel being a part of the case in terms of the attention it's gotten from the country and the world?
For me personally, I'm just happy that it got this sort of media attention. I've been doing high-risk press releases, and sometimes people pick up on it. It might be a slow news day. Sometimes people don't. In Jelani's case, he was a beloved member of his community, which I also grew up around the same area. He was a great at ISU. He was a beloved student there. I personally had friends asking me, hey, what can I do to help? And in this case, I mean, when you have a special person like that, it's bound to, to the media news story is bound to explode. On the other side is I'm actually happy. I'm glad that it's getting media attention. It helps us with our investigation, and it also helps bring awareness to other missing people. I can tell you that a lot of people are starting to look at different missing persons around their community and here locally and asking. And on our part is we probably need to do a better job on updating people, quarterly of, hey, who's still missing? I mean, we've got missing people that have been gone for a few months, and we don't want them to fall through the cracks either. So it's actually impressive that it's gained this much attention, and it's great that we can hopefully continue this momentum to other missing or high-risk missing persons. We have a lot of missing people, but when we release it, it's a high-risk missing person, just like in Jelani's case. And it's important when the media takes off, we can have hundreds of thousands or millions of people help us rather than just 100 people or their family.
I don't know if this was asked earlier. I don't recall it being asked. Do you have any idea why he was in Peru?
If I knew, it wouldn't be something that I could probably release, but I really don't know. The detectives and LaSalle County Sheriff's Office may have, some speculation, but there's really nothing specific I can release. It is still an active investigation, like I said before. There's not a lot of details I can release just because it's an active investigation. It is a death investigation. It could turn into more. It could be nothing else. But right at this time, we don't want to release any specific information, and I just can't answer that question. Yeah.
We have video of these photos of Jelani at the marijuana dispensary. Is that a significant event? Did you meet someone there
Really, so trying to think of the best way. Throughout our digital evidence combing, that's one thing that we learned. We believed he was somewhere in that area. We checked a lot of different cameras, and when we checked that area, that's one location that we saw. So that was significant for us because the first thing we released was at ISU's campus, you know, where he was wearing a blue shirt. Then we had some additional information of, hey, this is actually, you know, what he was last seen. So that was important to us to release just in case somebody saw him. So maybe he stopped at a gas station on the way to Peru or wherever, and somebody saw, you know, a black male wearing that t-shirt. That was important to us, or saw that vehicle through a specific time. Small tips like that can help us in our investigation to kind of piece it together.
With the car, was there anything messed up about it? Any kind of tampering? Any sort of like something obvious, like that may have caused him to be in distress when he was driving? Like a tire blowout? Something that would have caused him to stop?
So, and really, I'll talk kind of what we've already released. To me, it's unusual the way his vehicle was. You know, it was off of a parking lot inside. It wasn't like deep into a woods, but it was off a parking lot. That's unusual, just in itself. So to answer the question, that itself was unusual. Any specific information that we have, there's not much I can release at this point. So just really to state the obvious, that's unusual. I mean, you've got already, it's a suspicious or unusual circumstances why he was missing. And then that's also, you know, pretty suspicious or unusual. I've been a police officer 10 years. That's very unusual to just find a car like that. So that, I guess that's the best way I can answer your question without releasing any other information. All right. Yep. And I know there's some that want to get some shots afterwards. That's fine. We can do the same thing. I can stand here, whatever you guys like, but